2,000 years ago, a Galilean teacher called Yeshua from a nearby town called Nazareth began its ministry and changed the world.
Yet no physical evidence has ever been found to support the existence of Yeshua, or Jesus of Nazareth. Nor is there any confirmed written evidence of the existence of Jesus Christ during that time.
We don't have, unfortunately, an historical Jesus because we have no mention of a man called Yeshua written about and described while Jesus was alive. The historical details we gain from the Bible just by reading between the lines.
There are only 24 lines in the ancient texts that come before the year 150 that refer to Jesus in any way. Most of them are ambiguous. Is this a basis on which to build a major world religion?
With such scant evidence, a few lines of historical text, Harper began to question the very existence of Jesus Christ. Then he came across 3 19th and 20th century scholars whose writings suggest that Christ was not born in a manger in Bethlehem, but on the sands of ancient Egypt. This mysterious and complex culture only began to reveal its secrets in modern times. 200 years ago, a soldier in Napoleon's army made a startling discovery when he unearthed the Rosetta Stone at an excavation site near the Nile River. This discovery would shake the very bedrock of Christianity.
When they found this stone, they realized it was going to be of importance very quickly, because they saw that on the stone there were 3 scripts. Egyptian hieroglyphs on the top, another script that they weren't too sure about in the middle, and then Greek at the bottom.
This stone, containing a decree written 3 times in Greek, ancient Egyptian Demotic, and hieroglyphs, provided the key to the mysterious markings that cover the statues, monuments, and papyri of ancient Egypt, and opened up 3,000 years of that country's history and culture. The stone was used to study the extensive Egyptian records housed in the British Museum, and it uncovered a fascinating and familiar story, the story of Jesus.
The calming of the sea, the walking on the water, the making the lame to walk and the deaf to hear, the raising the dead, the judging of the dead, the descent into hell. It went on and on. The basic archetype of the Annunciation at the birth of Jesus in the Nativity stories by the angel Gabriel. You take a crucial verse like, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Suddenly I see these sayings, and I'm told that they come from the hieroglyphics of ancient Egypt. That's a pretty big shock, yes.
Harper considered, was the story of Jesus Christ, in fact, based on that of a pagan god? Ancient Egypt, home to one of the world's oldest religions that parallels what Christians call paganism. It was a faith that related to the cycles of nature. The essence of life, birth, death, and resurrection, was often represented by the sun. To worship the sun, the most powerful force of nature, meant to worship God.
The ancient pagan world wasn't some sort of benighted, savage place. It wasn't primitive. It was a very advanced culture, which gave us philosophy, architecture, democracy, mathematics, science. And it had a highly evolved spirituality. And at the center of that spirituality were what was known as mystery cults.
At the heart of these cults were mysterious sun gods, half god, half man-like figures. Stories about them were written in hieroglyphs on the walls of the pharaoh's temples.
And at the center of the mystery cults was a myth. And the myth is about a dying and resurrecting God-man, or Son of God. And if you look at the story, you see that this God-man is born of a virgin and God, sometimes on the 25th of December. He changes water into wine at a wedding. He performs other miracles. He has 12 disciples. He teaches a doctrine of love. He upsets the status quo, the religious authorities. He's put to death at Easter, sometimes through crucifixion. If you look at the cover of our book, there's a picture of a figure that looks like Jesus, but it's not. It's this pagan dying and resurrecting God-man. And then, of course, he comes back from the dead, and if you want to commune with the God-man, you take bread and wine symbolizing his body and blood. But that's not Christianity. This is paganism pre-Christian.
So we are inside this temple. We call it the bear's house or the bear's room. So here in front of us, some scenes showing us...
In the Temple of Luxor, ancient hieroglyphs describe a mythical mystery tale about a divine conception, or what Tom Harper claims to be a virgin birth, where a mother delivers a child in a cave, and 3 sages come to visit the infant deity. It's remarkably similar to the story told at the Church of Nativity, except this one predates it by almost 2,000 years. Standing in one of the panels is the sun god, Horus.
This very important god, because also this god had the same bears or the same house.
In the texts associated with the image of Horus, Harper found references to the Good Shepherd, the Lamb of God, and the Son of Man, all well-known biblical references to Jesus Christ.
And also in the same time, his uncle...
He claims 180 similarities between Horus and Jesus Christ. Horus is referred to as the Christos, or Ayusa. His virgin mother is the goddess Isis.
When she got this baby, Horus, she carrying him like in the same attitude, like the Virgin Mary and the Christ.
The images of Mary and the images of Isis with Horus on her knee were interchangeable. And in some churches today in Europe, they have a grotto in the bottom basement of the church where you will find a black Madonna. And the black Madonna is Isis and Horus.
Horus is just one of many such gods. Harper found evidence of dozens of others. Some of them can be found in the Christian shrine at the Coptic Museum in Cairo.
And they all have similar careers. They all have supernatural birth. They all are persecuted. That was an allegory or a symbol for the fact that each one of us, when we're born, we have the spark, the gift, and it's threatened that it'll be covered over by materialism, by animal passions, by whatever.
Next door to the Coptic Museum is one of the oldest churches in Egypt, St. Mark's. This church commemorates the journey said to have been taken by the Holy Family, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, when they fled persecution in Israel.
What you're relating to is God or the universe or the mystery of life via this particular figure. It's about understanding the wisdom that the story embodies of death and spiritual resurrection and experiencing it for yourself so that you discover the Christ within you.
St. Mark's Church was built during the earliest days of Christianity. It was a time when Christians were deeply divided in their beliefs. One of the factions was a mystical sect known as the Gnostics, and unlike other Christians who believed in a flesh and blood Jesus Christ, the Gnostics believed Jesus, or Joshua as they knew him, was like a pagan mystical god.
You know, there was a major battle for the soul of Christianity in this period. And the Gnostics lost, and the literalists won.
All through history, it has been the winners in any battle or any struggle that get to write the story and get to write how it happened.
Joshua as it would have been. Jesus is just the Greek name. The Joshua cult probably goes back 200 years at least before the time that we think of as Jesus being born. And so to really understand the nature of Gnostic mythology, you have to completely get away